first of all, realize that you are the problem. Your protest is the problem. Your indoctrination online is the problem. Spreading false narrative is the problem. Empowering the victim narrative is the problem.
Is there now, after October 7th, a movement to break free within the Palestinian society of Hamas? And if so, if they break free from Hamas, does that mean that they're open to having peace with Israel? Or does that mean that they're not open to destroying Israel, or that they will be less favorable to events like October 7th?
The Palestinian people are paying price for their hatred. It's simple as that. Existence is not about right and wrong. It's about cause and effect. And I said this from day one. It's about cause and effect. You cannot get away with incitement, provocation, plotting for terrorism, indoctrination, especially indoctrinating the children from their early life to hate the Jewish people and think that their mission in life is to kill the Jewish people. Then expect that things are going to be okay. I think it's too early right now to talk about a movement. What movement? We need to start over. We need to start from scratch. But first, we need to realize the problem. If we keep going like this, we are not helping the situation. We are advancing the violent ideology, and we are advancing the false narrative, most importantly, lies upon lies. So before we talk about a new movement, and I'm sure people adapt and change. People adapt and change. Even the animal adapt and change when they realize that this path is the path of death and destruction. Animal adapt. Species adapt and change. Darwin, no? So Palestinians are capable, but it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be overnight. It's going to take time. And that's why I say we need to break the chain, and we need to break this vicious cycle of violence. On one hand, we cannot say advance the Palestinian indoctrination of occupation and genocide and apartheid and colonialism, and on the other hand, complain when the children die. These are two opposites. So, and this is where I need for the Westerners, especially the Westerners and the intellectuals, the historians, I want them to realize just this. I'm not counting too much on the angry Nazis down in the streets. These people I will not even talk to. But at least faculty, students, historians, people of intelligence, they must understand. The more we advance the Palestinian violent indoctrination, the more children are going to die. Not only Arab children, also Jewish children. And this is the situation. In order for us, it's cause and effect. In order for us not to see more tragedy of Gaza and more violence, then we need to drop and challenge the false narrative. If there was no such thing as Palestine, we need to call them out. And if Palestinians are not an ethnic group, they're just a political movement of diverse interest, of opposite extremes, if this is their reality, without leadership, without a moral compass, without an ultimate goal, except the destruction of a democracy or the destruction of a legitimate nation, who pose themselves as a replacement. Even today, they're not talking about the 1967 border. They are talking about they want it from the river to the sea. No negotiations. So if this is the reality, then what we need even a small army of educated people determined to say, what is Palestine? What is Palestinian? Is there such a thing, occupation? And how can there be occupation if Palestine had never existed?
Do you think this is about land, this conflict?
It's definitely not. It's not about land.
So given that you don't think that it's about land, I don't think it's about land either. I think it's very complex. We see that the Palestinians have rejected a two-state solution on multiple occasions. Specifically, at this point in time, talking about a two-state solution will reward October 7th. So what do you think about the Palestinian rejectionism to a two-state solution? And how can, Western governments and students on campus who care genuinely, there's a few who really do care about creating justice on the land, push forward with an idea or with a solution? And what do you think about this two-state solution is what I want to ask you.
Why don't we realize the problem first?
Okay.
Before we start talking about solutions. The problem, everybody is talking about solution while they actually being part of the problem.
Right.
And I tell them, first of all, realize that you are the problem. Your protest is the problem. Your indoctrination online is the problem. Spreading false narrative is the problem. Empowering the victim narrative is the problem. Once they realize this, then we can talk about solution. The Arabs, way before they were called Palestinians. Back in 1948, they were not Palestinians. Our ancestors, they were just Arabs. They had an opportunity to declare their independence the same way the Jewish people had the opportunity to declare their independence after the UN partition. The Jewish people declared their independence in 1948. The Arabs declared war against the Jewish people. Then they came 40 years later in 1988. This is when they remembered to declare their independence. 40 years after they had their opportunity to build a state, an Arab state, side by side the Jewish state, and choose peace. But in 40 years, things change. In 40 years, they launched multiple wars with the intent to annihilate the state of Israel. And as a result, Israel captured more land, not because of dirt, because mainly security reasons. The West Bank, first of all, it's not even the West Bank. This is a modern name.
Right.
The historical name is Judea. My birth certificate says on it that I was born in Judea.
Wow.
Okay, this is what says on it.
That's why we're called Jews today.
So now, Judea, first of all, there is depth to the Jewish people there. And second, it's the Jordanian Valley. And the Jordanian Valley can protect the state of Israel from hundreds of millions of savages who would choose one morning to invade and kill and destroy and do the same things that Hamas did on October 7th. And Israel has the right to have a security built and to have a natural defense line. And this is exactly what the Jordanian Valley does. It's a natural defense line, has something to do with security. For the people who just want to throw solutions like this, like somebody wants to give me an elephant and say, get this elephant in the eye of the needle, please. No, I'm not going to do that job for you. And now they want 2 elephants in the eye of a needle. This is the solution that they are trying to force. And we tell them, no, the reality on the ground is different. And there are security needs, there is demographical change, there is geographical change, and nobody has the authority to reverse the wheel of time. No one. Who has the authority to reverse all the suffering, the bloodshed, the wars, the loss of land, the loss of life, the loss of trust between the people? And now say, how about we go back to the 1948? Let's go back 70 years ago, and please give us what was given to us and we mismanaged it. Well, at least if they admit this, to say we are sorry, we made a mistake, we were Arabs and we became stupid Palestinians, and we lost opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. What brought us here? Mismanaging and digging deeper into this ditch. If they come with this humility, then you understand that these people actually learned the lesson, and maybe you can put 2 states next to each other. But the problem, they are insisting on the same strategy. And of course, if you give them any piece of the land, they're going to think that they are winning, that actually their violence paid off. So tomorrow they're going to say, okay, then I want Tel Aviv, or I want more cities, I want more territory, and I don't want you here at all. If their violence
It's rewarded.
Gets rewarded. This is the other aspect that most of those who push for the Palestinian or the 2-state solution, the 2-state solution is a very similar situation to the 2-husband solution. Does it work? Will it ever work? Have you ever thought about it? Of course not. If you haven't lived there, then you don't understand. If you only visited there, it's not enough. Of course, you can see human suffering on the outside, but you don't understand the paradox. This is not even a paradox, it's a matrix, and it's very dangerous. And we don't want to turn the whole globe into Palestine. It's a black hole. So these people, they are driven by selfish interests. And again, what's more dangerous than the victim is actually the savior. That's what's more dangerous. So I'm not saying that those who don't understand the situation, had they protested against the war and stopped there, I would have respected their opinion, their freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of media. Now they have been inciting for violence against not only Israel, but against the Jewish people worldwide. And the Jewish minority has been paying the price. We have incidents on a regular basis. And by the way, the media does not even report it. And when they report it, they distort even the story. They make it sound like just an accident. And we have Jewish hunt, worldwide Jewish hunt, in areas I never thought that we have.
Amsterdam.
Not only Amsterdam, we
Excellent.
have many other safe countries. I don't want to mention those countries, but based on intelligence reports, we never thought that would be plotting, going after Jewish tourists or Israeli tourists, trying to kill them, kidnap them. This is very, very dangerous. And how did we get here? Because of this hateful indoctrination and the spread of the false narrative. So that brings us back all to the foundation, the false narrative. I knew what is going to happen. Israel has no other choice. I have no other choice but to remove Hamas from power. Even if I have to build an army from scratch and go on an infinite fight with them until they are defeated. Otherwise, they are going to repeat this massacre again and again. So, but nobody listened. And the civilians got caught up in the fire, while the world leaders just sitting and complaining and condemning and whining without taking any responsibility towards the thing. They accused Israel, and now they are accusing me. I am all of a sudden now the genocidal, the one who said from day one, get the children and the women out of the picture, and they did nothing about it. So now they inverted it. They are aiming at me. I'm the genocidal one. And I say, why am I a genocidal? Because I say there is no way but the use of force, and the use of force is the last resort in our hands to restore order and to eradicate the savages who have been sacrificing Jewish and Arab children. So I say, what about you who want to eradicate Israel from the river to the sea? If Gaza cost us this human tragedy so far, this much, what would it cost to try to annihilate a nuclear power? What would be the cost? Have they thought about it? So on one hand, they want it from the river to the sea. They want Israel to just pack up and go back to wherever. And who's going to do the job? Who's going to do the job? And how much blood has to be shed in order to achieve that goal? And who is the genocidal in this case? The use of force is justified. If it was the last resort, when all venues of dialogue sabotaged, and we are left only with one thing, the use of force. And this is what we are dealing in Gaza. The war is not against the vulnerable civilians, but nobody is helping the situation. Egypt did not help the situation. The United Nations is complicit in Hamas crime, and they failed to condemn Hamas. And the pro-Palestine worldwide, and especially the Muslims among them, justified the Hamas violence and validated Hamas violence, legitimized Hamas violence, and many of the Western hypocrites came for their help. This is what we are dealing with. To tell me about the two-state solution, a genocide, we are dealing with much bigger problem. This is the human delusion at its worst performance. I personally will never agree to live in a society where I am ruled by savages or by gangs on the streets or by the mob, because I know that I cannot satisfy their ambition. And the more I want to give them, tomorrow they want to come to take my property, or maybe one room at my property, then they want to take the other room, then they want to take the property, then they want to take maybe my wife, then they want to put me to slavery. Nothing can satisfy this type of mentality that actually choose violence and think that everything is given or taken. We are in creation. You create it. Everybody has that creative power. You build it. You own it. Then you have the right to destroy it if you want. This is your business. But if other people developed it, worked very hard towards that goal, now you come and you want to take over, they are attracted about the harvest. It's not about the land. The land requires hard work throughout the seasons in order to save for the winter. But then the thief comes and he wants it easy. They just want to take the harvest. It was not about the land. It's about the developed land. This is not propaganda. I bring the facts. I lived on both cultures. I spent half of my life among the Arabs and half of my life among the Jews. And this is my authority. This is my experience. Today, I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm here to actually challenge and, most importantly, to condemn. Do you know what the word condemn means? I'm not here to convince. You want to listen, you listen. You don't want to listen, then you have to deal with the consequences. I will not be there. And I will not be participating in the chaos that you create, because this is your realm. This is your creation. And I don't have compassion towards mothers who celebrate and rejoice the death of others' children. Then, when their turn comes, eventually, they weep. As they weep, I don't cry and I don't rejoice. I have zero compassion. It's their creation, the reality they created for themselves. And you'll have to accept it. And you know what? No one is above this authority. No one is above the authority of the universe, because the universal laws are the laws of cause and effect, not right and wrong. Because what is right here is wrong on the other side. And what is right on the other side is wrong here. Then this is a rabbit hole we can never end. My people gave up on me a long time ago. What they hate about me the most, that I could have been an asset to them. But what they do best, they misuse their assets. And they cut the hand that feeds them. And they accuse those who try to help them. And they crucify those who want to die on their behalf. This is their strategy. I don't love them. I don't hate them. I don't want to do anything with them. And honestly, I don't want them to spread, and I don't want them to grow. I hope that they can be contained only in one region and keep this death culture only in one place. I don't want to globalize it. Think this radical, condemn me, judge me. Sooner or later, the entire world is going to come to this realization. And guess what? I'm not going to be there even to listen to it.